I tried different iterations of law of attraction, law of assumption, but they didn't work in the way that I needed them to work until I started assuming a state of being. And this is really the biggest thing that I teach people in business or just in my personal life is that largely you're a spiritual being. You're here for a limited period of time. And every day you're sort of what I would describe it as is a meat suit. You're wearing a meat
Yeah.
suit, you're going through life, and you're shifting through infinite parallel realities. Your awareness, you are the awareness behind your reality, your thoughts, etc. And so what you need to learn with law of attraction assumes that you're pulling things towards you. But when you start to think of it as you're actually the source of your individual reality, your bubble, let's say. So you're in this multi-dimensional, multi-frequential system that you're in, but you're also nested within a larger multiverse, the collective consciousness. And so you're going through your day and you're sort of in this like little, let's call it the Matrix little video game that you're in. And the way that you shift to a new reality is by focusing your awareness, which is also known as your state of being, on a certain reality to make it come to you. And so when I learned about this and I started making music, no background, didn't know anything about how to write a song, had no capabilities, couldn't do it at all. I shifted my state of being to I am the greatest songwriter in the world as an experiment. What I did was I robotically affirmed like a crazy person all day long, right? 30 to 40,000 times a day, I'm the greatest songwriter in the world. Now, I didn't need to do that. I simply needed to assume the state of being of a person who was the greatest songwriter in the world, and thus I would shift to that parallel reality in which I was.
Yeah.
Now that I know that, I didn't have to drive myself crazy all day long. But what started happening is this person who'd never written a song, who had no musical background, who didn't know the chords, suddenly became a better and better songwriter in a very short period of time. It was only really a couple of months that I had songs on the radio. And people were saying to me, "How did you do this?" And I said, the same way that I cured my ulcerative colitis, which is a disease I had for 18 years. I no longer assume the state of being of a sick person. I refuse to place my awareness and my attention on anything in my 3D reality which would confirm that I was a sick person or that I wasn't a good songwriter. And so knowing that and going through life and little things that I manifest on a daily basis, the way I coach clients and people in my personal life is I tell them that you need to be very good at ignoring your senses. You need to be very good at ignoring the reality that's in front of you because this is the residual reality of your previous traumas and the stories that you've told yourself from your old character. And that's a skill in itself because, it's extremely convincing and we get wrapped up in it.
Yeah.
And if you try to fix your life or manifest from the character or the reality in front of you, it's very, very difficult because you're playing with the hologram. But if you pull back and say, no, I'm the source of my reality entirely, it's a whole internal game that you work on a daily basis. And so that's something that I really realized in my life, and I've been able to manifest literal miracles. But that nuance, that specific nuance about how to get into a new reality, I feel like is lost in a lot of the YouTube content and the manifestation content because they say, you just have to robotically affirm, you got to do these things, you got to build a vision board. And those might work, they're tools, but what's really underscoring a lot of this is the state of being in the internal state about who you are, which then would be reflected out to the outside world and projected back.